Hi students, I'm going to work with depreciation now. There are chapter 6, there are three types of depreciation that are covered in this chapter. And what we do is we're going to be looking at what is called the straight line depreciation. And depreciation is an accounting principle where you or a process, an accounting process where you take an asset, such as a tangible fixed asset, so like a car you can touch, and so that makes it tangible and it's got a fixed life. It's not going to run forever, so it will run for so long. And you can either, if you were doing a cash basis accounting, you might make that expense, you pay out your cash all at once, and there would be no depreciation on the car. You take it, put the amount, the full total amount as an expense. But if you're going to depreciate something, something starts out really good and it gets used more and more, and so wear and tear on it, and pretty soon it's not worth anything. And so uh, depreciation is a way that you account for that change in the asset. So there's one called straight line depreciation, another one that is called sum of the years, digits depreciation, and then a third one that is called a double declining balance depreciation. So in this worksheet, work section, we're going to be doing all three of these. The one that's most popular is the straight line, and we'll do that one last. Okay, so page 168, EA6D1, it wants us to start typing up in A1 City Music World Depreciation Schedule, and then all these headings, fixed assets. You take and get these headings from the blue part and leave the accumulated depreciation column empty. So I've already done steps 1, 2, and 3 and typed those in. And so now what we're going to do is select cell A4, and we're going to click on Home and Styles right here, and Format as Table. Click that, and we're going to pick gold number 5, which is down here, a medium 5, and click OK. Then we're going to click on Table Design. Excuse me, we have to create the table right here. I missed that step. I wasn't looking at my screen. Now we have our table. Now we have Table Design, and it wants us to click over here in Properties, and up here where it says Table 1 with a generic name, we're going to put in the word Depreciation underscore Schedule and name that table. Next, we're going to choose Table Design, Table Style Options. See, we've got Table Design right here. If I click outside of it, it goes away. And when I click in the table, then it comes back. And it's going to ask me to click Total Row. So this button here. And so now that added the word total, and we have the options of adding up these columns in an easy fashion. That's what the table format helps us do. Step number 7. Select cell C8, C8 right here, and we get a little drop down box, and I can click here and pick sum, and it totals that. Then it wants me to click in the D8, sum that. And now a little bit different for this one, we're going to do the average. And we have quite a few digits, and so I'm going to just, it doesn't instruct us to do this, but I am going to, oops, click in here and then make it just one digit here. And after that, we wanted to click and do number 9, which is Table Design, Table Style Options, which is right here. And I'm going to click First Column, and it's going to make this first column bold. And sure enough, it did. And that is all there is to D1. The next section is to teach us how to add rows and columns to a table. And we're also going to print the table. So please look at the bottom of page 170 where it says EA6D2. Right underneath the blue line that says Develop Your Skills, EA6D2, you see a paragraph that starts with, in this exercise you will add a fixed asset row and multiple columns to the table. So in that paragraph there's some information about adding studio furniture to the table. It's got a value of 3,000 and a salvage of 300 and its estimated useful life of 9 years. We're going to use that information when we get down to step 3. So keep that in mind because otherwise you're not going to know what you're supposed to type in here. Okay, so we save our file as D2. Let me do that. And so it's D2. And then it wants us to select F7. Okay, I'm in this cell right here. And one way to add a new row is to just press your tab key. And voila, we have a new row. And then it says number 3, enter the information for the new fixed asset in the range A8 to E8. The figures in the total row have been updated to include the new data. This is where you go back up to that paragraph where you have studio furniture. And the date of it is 11/2026. And it's $3,000 and 300. And it has a 9-year life. Okay, so we had that row and then we added some information into it from the italic paragraph up above there. Okay, step number 4. Now what we're going to do is we're going to insert some columns. So it wants me to select column F8. So I'm in F8 and I am going to click Insert, insert table column to the right, insert table column to the right, insert table column to the right, and then it says, oh, you have too many columns here, let's delete one. So I select one, click up here on delete, and delete. I need to be in here. So I just deleted the table column. I was at Home, Cells, Delete. And that is step number 5. Step number 6. In cell G4, let's find G4 right here, we're going to type a heading. We're going to type depreciation expense. And then we're going to come over to cell H4 and we're going to type year end book value. And so I have those 2 headings on there. Now step number 7, it wants us to select this row. So I click out here on the 4, then I click right in here and it selected all of the yellow headings there. And it wants us to do home, alignment, and then to wrap text. Here's your little icon for wrapping text. Notice my tooltip goes right into there and then it tells you what that feature is. Okay. Now it says number 8, use the ribbon to change the width of column B, E, G, H to 12. So one way is to change it this way where we just drag it down to 12. B and E, I'm going to also bring that one down to 12. And then between G and H, we're going to take those 2 ranges and make those 12. Okay, so that was one way. That's called the ribbon way right in there. Now another way of doing it is called the right click method. So we're going to click column F, right click, come down here to column width, and sometimes it's easier to do it this way. And it wants us to set the column width at 14 and say OK. So that one was 14. And then it says to go to column D, right click, column width, and set that to 4 and say OK. Now column D is way too narrow, and we are going to need to fix this. With column D highlighted, choose Home, Cells, oops, where's Cells here, Format, and we can auto fit the column width right here. Notice that we have column width here too, so we have all the choices there. So I'm going to review here. So we have where you get in between here and pull it and change your column width. We have a right click to do a right click and change column width, or we can come up here to do format and do column width up there. So 3 different ways of doing it. You, as you start working, will figure out which one you like to do best. Now the next thing that we're going to do is go between A and B and do a auto fit, and B auto fit. You just double click and you can see that it moved. Here's our longest row right here, our longest entry depreciation schedule. So it fit just a little bit past that. Okay, now we're going to double click between rows 4 and 5 to auto fit the header. So just like we can make just enough room for the text and what we have in it, the contents of the cell. Right now you can see that there's quite a bit of space, like above the word date, above the word salvage. So we want to make this auto fit, and I'm going to get right here, double-headed arrow kind of, and do a double click, and it fixed that height of the row. I'm going to undo this and show you something. Another way of doing it would be to click this row, and then we could come over here to Format, Row Height, Auto Fit Row Height. That's another way. Just like we had 3 ways of fixing the column height, we have those same 3 ways of fixing the row height. Okay, so now we're on step 13. Select cell A5, which is right here, and choose File, Print, and we can have an option of looking at it in portrait or landscape. So let me pick landscape, and it changes the orientation of the paper. And then we could print the whole active sheet, which means from up here, the whole entire sheet, or we have the option of clicking here and we'll have print selected table. I'm going to select that, and now we have just the table. Now if we had not put our insertion point into the table before we started, we wouldn't get the option. So if you look at this here and you do not see select table, you only see these other ones, that means you need to go back out of here. Let me show you how you would fix it. You go back out of here, and so here I'm in the table, but now watch, I'm going to select out here and I'm not in the table right now. So when I do File, Print Active Sheets, now I do not get anything that gives me a choice about printing just the table. You have to select inside the table before you can get that option over here. That seems like a smart thing. Okay, now 16 says to click our back button to get out of the backstage view and get into the regular view. Now we're ready to start the part about formulas. So I'm going to stop this video right here, and then we'll have two videos, and I'll start on D3 in the next video.